It should have been a Cecil DeMille moment. A moment when the glory of God is revealed in technicolor. Now, I'm assuming that I'm speaking to a generation for whom Cecil DeMille is somewhat of a household name. Should I ask for a show of hands? Close your eyes and imagine. Better yet, keep your eyes open and imagine. The prophet Elijah stands alone before King Ahab and the wicked Queen Jezebel. For all the other prophets, the one true God, have been killed. Sent by God, Elijah challenges to a duel the false prophets of Baal and Asherah who have been courted by Jezebel. It's sort of like the gunfight at the OK Corral. Elijah invites these false prophets to make a sacrifice to their gods as he would to his God with a capital G. 2 bulls are slaughtered, and they each fill a mound of wood upon which to offer the sacrifice. The most powerful God, of course, would send down a fire from the heavens to consume the sacrifice. The false prophets began to sing and dance around their sacrificial mound. They blew horns and banged drums. The heavens were silent, apparently still unmoved by their stage production. They sing and dance some more. Still nothing. They sing until their voices crack and dance until they fell upon the ground. And still nothing. Elijah looks around with a little smile upon his face and suggests just one more dance. Perhaps another little ditty might do the trick. Maybe their gods were a little hard of hearing. When they do not rise from the ground, Elijah invites Ahab's guards to throw some water upon his sacrifice, and then more water, until the mound was thoroughly drenched. At this point, Elijah finally beseeches the one true God to accept his sacrifice. And suddenly, bright flame comes down from the heavens and consumes everything. Don't mess with Elijah. Afterwards, Ahab's guard gathers up the false prophets at Elijah's request, 450 in all, and they kill them, every last one of them. Elijah is at the peak of his power, but then comes the ominous drum roll. Jezebel is not amused by this show of force and is sending an army to kill Elijah. Like the disciples who would follow Jesus, Elijah, despite all that he has just accomplished, is afraid. He runs away. His spirit is broken, wounded, and in need of healing. The reading from the Psalms this morning is not addressed to God, but to the gathering of the faithful, or rather the troubled, the wounded, the hurting children of God. The psalm is a reminder that God bears with us, holds us, comforts us in times of trouble. In verse 17, which was not included in the reading this morning, the psalmist declares, "When the righteous cries for help, the Lord hears and rescues them from all their troubles. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." In another reading from the lectionary for this morning, King David receives word that his son Absalom has been killed. It's a very complex story, but centers upon the fact that David and Absalom have become estranged. Indeed, Absalom has been in open revolt against his father. The heart of the story is that Absalom killed his older brother Amnon the firstborn, who had raped his half-sister, Tamar. This family tragedy was never resolved, and the wounds of the father and of the son would continue to twist the relationship. Wounds upon wounds upon wounds. Their story ends when Absalom becomes entangled in a tree. He is found dangling by his neck by one of David's soldiers, who runs a sword through Absalom's heart. The soldiers return to David with what they consider to be good news. The rebellious son, the would-be usurper of David's kingdom, has been killed. However, when David hears the news, he cries out, "Oh, my son, Absalom, my son, my son, Absalom, would I have died instead of you? Oh, Absalom, my son, my son." David's spirit is broken, wounded, and in need of healing. When the righteous cries for help, the Lord hears and rescues them from all their troubles. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. At this point, I think I would rather talk about food. Perhaps I could pull a Hershey bar out of the air. Now, if you weren't here 2 weeks ago, you have no idea what I'm talking about. To be more to the point, I want to deflect. Our society, our culture, doesn't seem to do well with the raw aspects of life. Those moments when we are most vulnerable, most broken, hurting. We want to skip ahead when all is well with the world. We tell one another, and you may have heard these words, "Every cloud has a silver lining. You'll get through this, you'll see. Think positively. Just have faith, God will provide." It's not that there isn't some truth to these claims. Rather, they simply cannot address the enormity of some of the challenges facing our world today. It doesn't help to tell a starving child that the Lord will provide. The child needs food. Moreover, these claims start to sound hollow when the solution, the answer, the prayer fulfilled is not just around the corner. When I hear someone say, "God won't give you more than you can handle," I think to myself, I really wished that God didn't think so highly of me. What strikes me about these biblical stories is how vulnerable, how culpable, how human the children of God can be. They are wounded healers struggling to make the best of the world. These men and women are not pillars of faith, putting on a breastplate of righteousness and the helmet of salvation. More often, they are struggling desperately to cling to their faith to the best of their ability.